Greetings children. The topic that we are going to learn is the third part of transpiration. Today we are going to learn the adaptations in plants. So generally transpiration is a regular process which occurs in almost all the plants, but some plants they have some extra adaptation. They have evolved some kind of adaptation to get escape from the rate of transpiration. What is the reason? Maybe these plants are growing in a dry area, or maybe the plants are growing in completely waterlogged area where they are not supposed to do excessive transpiration, because transpiration also requires some amount of energy. You know that the guard cells want to open and close, so they are spending some amount of energy for the guard cells to be open and close. So in this case, the plants has to reduce the kind of transpiration, the rate of transpiration for their survival. So we are going to learn about the various different type of adaptation that we can see in plants that can be found in xerophytes or that can be found in aquatic plants, that is hydrophytes too. So first such adaptation is sunken stomata. Sunken stomata means generally stomata is found in the adjacent epidermis surface which is very close to the environment. In common, we have the epidermis that is directly exposing the stomata. This is a common dicot plant where you can see the stomata. This is stomata and this is also stomata, which is exposed directly to the outer environment. This is outer environment. Okay, so the stomata is very close to the outer environment. But in a dry plant, for example like Nerium is oleander. This Nerium plant which loves to grow in a dry area, or they love to grow in somewhat drought containing area, drought habiting area. So in this area, if the stomata is present like that, generally this water will be going out very fast. Water will get lost from the plant very fast. So naturally there is an adaptation. The stomata, this is a stomata. Here in this sunken pit, the stomata is present. So throughout the leaf surface, the upper epidermis will be developing some sunken area, a chamber-like area in which the stomata is present. So what happens in these sort of cases? This water vapor from the internal tissues will come out, and that water vapor will be present here in this chamber. This is outer environment. This is a chamber which is present in the cavity of a leaf. This is so minute. This is a microscopic picture. This is a real microscopic picture. So this is so minute, and there are so many hairs also. Can you see that hairs? These hairs are known as epidermal hairs. This epidermal hairs will block this water vapor from escaping out. So there is water vapor in this chamber and also water vapor which will be laden inside the cell. So the diffusion rate will become slower, and later when heavy wind blows, maybe this epidermal hairs will be leaving some amount of water vapor outside. But when compared with the stomata which is present on the epidermal surface, this kind of sunken stomata, that means the stomata which is found in a chamber, the sunken stomata is reducing transpiration in a very high rate. Okay, so this is first adaptation that we can see in dry plants or dry loving plants. The next one, some of the plants possess fewer stomata. Fewer stomata means the stomata number would be comparatively very less. This is an aquatic plant's internal section. Aquatic plant, like this is the internal section of lotus leaf. So in this lotus leaf or in aquatic leaf, you can see in the lower surface there is no stomata. Lower epidermis there is no stomata. In upper epidermis there are some stomata. Okay, the number of stomata on the upper epidermis is a little bit more when compared with lower epidermis. And moreover, if you are comparing a leaf or the square centimeter area of an aquatic leaf with a xerophytic leaf, the number of stomata will be very less in aquatic leaf. So that shows fewer number of stomata will be found in some plants to reduce the rate of transpiration. The next adaptation is narrow leaves. Some of the leaves are highly reduced in its size. Already we know that the leaves are having a perfect shape to expose the leaf parts completely to sun. As these leaves are narrow in nature, this is a conifer and this is nerium, this is a xerophytic, this is a kind of dry loving plant. So this plants reduces their leaf surface, so that number of stomata will also go low, their rate of transpiration will also go low, as they are living in an area where dry environment is there. So this is another adaptation. And then the next adaptation is, some of the plants have reduced exposed surfaces. Maybe they will be having their leaves in a folded way, as like this. This is a fern which will be producing leaves in a folded manner. So when the leaves are so young, tender, the leaves are highly coiled like this, so that they won't be doing transpiration much. And there is an adaptation like wavy leaves. This wavy leaves will be giving shade, so direct sunlight falls on the leaf will be highly reduced. So these are all some adaptations to reduce the exposing surfaces, so that they can reduce the rate of transpiration. That's what the idea behind. And then in some plants, leaves will be completely get lost. The leaves will fall off from the plant. This is an opuntia plant, the kind of a cactus plant, a xerophytic plant, you know. This is also a kind of xerophytic plant which we can see like in it's a kind of cactus we can see around us. So these two plants, generally they will be shedding off their leaves and they will be doing photosynthesis with the help of stem. As you have studied already in your lower classes, the stem will be performing photosynthesis and all the leaves are being shed, and some amount of leaves can be transformed, it can be changed into thorns or spines too. So that is loss of leaves. And here this is an example. This is acacia. I guess this plant is there in our school too, near the B block. So this is the leaf stalk. This leaf stalk is changing into a leaf-like structure, and these are the normal leaf. While they grow, this normal leaf will completely fall off, and the plant will be doing photosynthesis by using this leaf stalk. So this is known as phylloclad and phylloid. This is phylloclad and phylloid adaptation. So you're not learning those names, you just need to go with this title. So this is another kind of adaptation. And then you can see one more adaptation, that is the plants used to possess very thick cuticle. Even the last video I said about cuticle. What is cuticle? Cuticle is a waxy coating which is found on the leaf. Can you see this leaf? This is like so waxy, so oily. This wax coat will prevent rate of transpiration. This will prevent some amount of transpiration. As they are so thick, so waxy, they won't allow water vapor to go out. So this kind of thick waxy coat will be found on leaves. So these are some adaptations which we can see in plants to reduce transpiration. So what are the adaptation? Sunken stomata will come first, and then fewer stomata, then narrow leaves, and then reduced exposed surfaces by developing folded or wavy leaves. And then loss of leaves we have seen, that can be seen in cactus kind of plants. And then thick cuticle will be there in some of the mesophytic plants. Mesophytic means normal environment where we are living in, a kind of environment where the plant needs water but that doesn't require water too much or too low. So that is mesophytic. So thick cuticle will be there in mesophytic plants. The best known example is like neem tree, banyan, mango tree, all those trees which are found around us. So these are the adaptations in plants. So we have studied about the different adaptations in plants to reduce the rate of transpiration. The next topic that we are going to learn is significance of transpiration. First you should know the meaning of the word significance, that is importance. So significance means why transpiration is necessary, or what is the use of transpiration to the whole world. That is what significance of transpiration talks about. The first effect is cooling effect. Because of transpiration we are so cool. Like if you are being like this, you just go stand under a tree, right? What is the reason? If you are completely exhausted because of the hot sun, the immediate thing what we are looking for is a shade. If it is a tree shade, we will be so happy because it's producing too much of cooling effect. So this cooling effect to the complete world, throughout the world surface, this cooling effect during hot 70 days is by the rate of transpiration. And then This transpiration creates a suction force. What is this suction force? Look, this is a straw and here there is a tumbler of milk, and the girl is going to suck the milk through the straw, right? That force, that suction force will pull the milk from the tumbler to the girl, right? So without the suction force, if she is not sucking, the milk won't go into her mouth, right? The same thing, all these leaves are doing transpiration, and this transpiration will create a suction force so that the water molecules are pulled upwards. In last lesson, you have studied about ascent of sap. Ascent of sap is possible, of course, by osmosis, when it is moving from one cell to another cell, or it's by imbibition from one cell to another cell or cell wall, right? So these are all small forces like osmosis, imbibition, all those things that you have studied in last lesson are small forces which will move water for a level. And cohesion, adhesion force you would have studied in last lesson. So all these things are like, they will be helpful in moving water a little bit. This is the major force which is taking in water for a long distance. Even in a very tall plant like sequoia, you would have heard about sequoia, that redwood tree, the very tallest tree in the world. Even that sequoia tree is doing this kind of long suction, like the water is going to a very high distance, like very height the water has to go up. So that is created by this transpirational pull. So transpirational pull is creating a great suction force in the plants. Okay, so that is the second importance of transpiration. So what is the first one? Cooling effect. Second one, suction force. And then the third one, distribution of minerals and water. Because of suction force is being created, the water is being pulled up, and then that's because of this distribution of minerals and water is occurring in the whole plant. And then it affects the entire climates, and that causes the rainfall. You should know that what is the reason for rain. Already you have studied from 3rd standard, we know that what is the reason for rainfall. The condensation which occurs in the cloud, that is because of the evaporation. Okay, so all these things, the water is being evaporated from the surface of sea. Apart from that, transpiration is a major reason why there is rainfall. That's why we are always asking about afforestation or reforestation. We are talking about all these forestation matters. So this is a significance of transpiration. You should know the significance of transpiration. First one is cooling effect, and then suction force, and then because of transpiration, distribution of minerals and water is happening throughout the plant. Higher the rate of transpiration, higher the rate of absorption of water and solutes from the soil too. And then it affects the climate. Okay, transpiration affects the climate, and this is the reason for rainfall. Next, the topic that we are going to learn is guttation. Guttation can be otherwise termed as exudation. Guttation is given in your syllabus. Exudation is the other word for guttation. So what is this guttation or exudation? You would have seen all these things even in our lawn, school lawn. We have seen this. On top of grass completely there will be a drop of water. You may be wondering like, what is this? Like dew, right? So this is not dew or anything. This dew is actually from the plant. This is not the outer environment creates. This is from the plant. This is exudation, that is nothing but excess water which is coming out of some special structure that is known as hydathode. You have to learn this word, hydathode. Hydathode is a special structure which is responsible for sending that water in the form of droplets. This is excess water. Actually this is with all the waste. Okay, this water, this is not like honey dew or something. This is not so good. This is actually a waste water. This water droplets will be having too much of waste also. This is a kind of excretion. It's not excretion, but this can be added as a kind of excretion, because guttation, the excess water will be coming out of the plant through the small opening, and this small opening is known as hydathode, which is present on the margin of leaves. Okay, generally they used to ask question, what is hydathode or where is it located? So you should mention on the margin of long leaves. On the margin of leaves, hydrothodes are present, and these hydrothodes are responsible for guttation. So in a question, if they are asking what is guttation or define guttation, you should mention hydrothode. If there is a question about hydrothode, please mention about guttation. So these two words, you have to learn these two words. Whenever there is a question about guttation, please mention hydrothode. If there is a question about hydrothode, mention guttation. For example, like define the process guttation. Guttation is loss of water which occurs through hydrothode. What is hydrothode? Hydrothodes are special cells through which guttation occur. Okay, so if these two things are being asked, you have to mention the other one. If one is asked, the other one has to be mentioned. And the next topic is bleeding. Bleeding in plants. That's not for fun. Bleeding in plants is, here we are talking about this vascular fluid. Vascular fluid is nothing but water or the sap. So this sap, when there is a plant is being cut, through the cut stem, some amount of water will be leaking out of the plant. You can see that very clearly in banana. That's why I took this picture. Banana will be showing it off, and you can see that even in bamboo, but we should take picture. I didn't get any picture like which shows bleeding. I didn't get. So this is a stem which has been cut. So from this stem part, you can see it's completely of water, or the cell sap will be coming out. It won't be pure water, of course, like it's having too much of minerals in it. So that is, cell sap is leaking out. So the loss of water through cut stem is bleeding. You should know these two definitions. What is guttation is loss of water through hydrothode. What is bleeding is loss of water through cut stem. So these two definitions we should learn. They can ask one of these definitions. Very commonly they are asking. So that's it about this lesson. Today the topic that we have discussed are the adaptation in plants to reduce excessive transpiration. We discussed about sunken stomata, fewer stomata, narrow leaves, reduced exposed surfaces like wavy folded leaves, loss of leaves, and then we'll discuss about, we learned about thick cuticle, presence of thick cuticle to reduce transpiration. And then we learn about significance of transpiration. In that we learn about cooling effect of plants, suction force of plants, and distribution of water and minerals, and then how does this affect the climate. And then we learn what is guttation and what is bleeding. So this is all we are learning in this lesson. The lesson 5 transpiration is completed. So here comes your homework. You need to learn lesson 5 transpiration completely for the next cycle test. That will be on next Thursday. So next cycle test, you have to learn transpiration lesson completely. And I'm going to attach a crossword puzzle by today around 3 o'clock. So this crossword puzzle will be there for 3 hours there. You should find out an answer, and this is a kind of like, I need to check how many of you are listening the videos completely, how many of you are watching these videos completely. So you have to log in by yourself by 3 o'clock, and please get that crossword puzzle. Take a printout of that or draw. If you don't have a printer at home, please take a pencil and ruler, just draw it and complete it. Take a photo and send it to me back before 6 o'clock through classroom assignment page. Through how I am attaching, you have to attach it back and turn it on. Okay, and so this is your immediate assignment, and you have to learn this lesson completely for the next cycle test. So this is your homework. Thank you so much, kids. I'll meet you in the next day with a new lesson. Thank you.